Rules for inheritance of trait. Gregor Johann Mendel was the first scientist to explain the phenomena of heredity or inheritance. He was the first one to state that there are certain things which are transferred from the parents to offspring or from one generation to another, and to prove this he has conducted a series of experiments on pea plant, also called as Pisum sativum, and then he introduced the concept that each character is controlled by a thing called as factor, and these factors are now known as gene. He also stated that these factors or genes are present in all the cells of our body in the form of pairs, and these pairs are transported to the next generation with the help of the cells called as gametes. The gametes are the sex cells. In the case of female it is ovum, and in the case of male it is sperm, and these gametes are responsible for transport of these factors from one generation to the next generation. And see over here, the factors are now known as genes. These genes are going to form the physical basis of heredity, and as we all know that gametes are of two type, that is male gamete sperm and female gamete is ovum. Thus both gametes are going to contribute equal amount of genetic material to the child. So 23 chromosome would be coming from the male gamete and 23 chromosome would be coming from the female gamete, and now this is going to fuse and form 46 chromosome, that is the amount of genetic material in the child or the offspring. This 46 chromosome could also be written as 23 pairs. So now we know that each of the character will be influenced by both the parents, the paternal DNA also and the maternal DNA also. So we can say that each child or offspring is going to have two copies of gene for a character. Now let's take an example and understand it more clearly. So when we talk about a character that is height, so there will be two copies for this character or two copies for this gene. For example, if a capital T is coming from a father and a small t is coming from the mother, in the case of the child you will be having a combination capital T and small t, that is the offspring is going to have two copies. This is the first one and this is the second one, and this is one entire gene. Now moving on towards the Mendel's experiment. So Mendel has selected 7 pairs of contrasting character for his crossbreeding experiment, but he never studied all these characters together. He had considered these characters separately. So initially he has performed the separate crosses, which first involved one pair or one trait of contrasting character, then two contrasting characters, then three contrasting characters, and so on. So when one contrasting character was considered, it was called as monohybrid cross. When two contrasting characters were studied at the same time, it was called as a dihybrid cross. For three contrasting character, it was a trihybrid cross, and for others, it was the polyhybrid cross. Now let's take a look at 7 pairs of contrasting characters in the garden pea or Pisum sativum, which was selected by the Mendel for his crossbreeding experiment. So the first character is plant height, in which the dominant trait is tallness and recessive trait is short. The second character was flower position, in which dominant trait is axial flowers and in which the recessive trait is terminal flower. Axial means this type of flowers, and a recessive trait, that is the terminal, means at the end. So here the next character is the flower color. So purple is the dominant one and white is the recessive one. Fourth character is pod shape. The first, that is dominant one, is inflated, and the second, that is constricted, is a recessive trait. Then we have the pod color, which is green, that is a dominant trait, and yellow, which is going to be an recessive trait. The sixth character is seed shape, which is round and it is a dominant character, whereas the wrinkled is a recessive trait. When we talk about the last character, that is the seed color, and in seed color, yellow is going to be the dominant trait and green is going to be the recessive one. So this were the 7 pairs of contrasting character which was selected by Mendel for his crossbreeding experiment.